Right, Muddy for Wood Angling Club down in Christchurch. This is an edition of Andy Goes Pole Fishing. Not something I've ever done before. Well, to tell the truth, when I was about 10 or 11, we used to steal one of Mum's runner bean canes, piece of string, bent pin, a few earthworms, which is my total experience of any form of pole fishing. Now we have our 914 course fishing expert, shall we say, who is going to teach me how to do some pole fishing. He's here setting up the kit on the peg here at Muddy for Wood. We've got the chairs out, the most important thing. Comfy seat. And we're now trying to set up. Need a hammer to bang the bank sticks in, I think, but other than that, be alright. Here we go. We should cut back in when we're all set up and ready to do a little bit. No, you had two in and you put another two in just now. Just.
Yeah, well, it's
this is basically the setup.
It's not ideal, but
Got a front roller, back roller and a pole sock, so as when you put the pieces you've unshipped back, they don't fall in the water. Right, so explain what we're doing here.
So what we've done here is used a little cable tie. Could be a whole lot neater. Bear in mind this is a really basic setup and this is the bare minimum you can get away with. It's not match fishing technology, it's the bare minimum, all of this setup to get away with. But if you're shipping out, basically I find it easier. I'm just going to plumb depth with overweighting the hook. But then if you want to ship out, then you just do that and you're on the spot.
Yeah.
So I just find it easier. It's something that's always worked for me. Just hook it up like that, and
it's
then
a nice little trick that you wouldn't think of, but so simple and costs about a penny for a tie wrap.
You're not got anything to worry about when you're fishing. So we'll go into the plumbing aspect of seeing where we are, heading for those lilies.
Pick up a little bit.
Heading for those lilies over the back there, which is where we're looking to start fishing. But I know we'll sit down and start to ship the pole. I am depth testing at the moment, not fishing per se, but as you can see, got full control over the float. And then ship out gently to where I roughly aim to be wanting to fish, and then turn the pole and I'm in. So I'm looking now, right, so we're not deep enough, so you know, I'm plumbing now to see what we've got. And we've got quite a bit of depth there actually. We might not have enough line on to fish the full depth. And then ship back gently. So this isn't the perfect setup, but into the sock. And then come back for some adjustments. So you can hold that one there. We could have probably done with another roller really, but as I say, this is very basic setup.
This is just to get a flavour of what's involved in a bit of pole fishing. For somebody who thinks that pole fishing was, you know, stealing a runner bean cane and a bit of string and a bent pin.
So once again, I think we're going to be fishing probably under depth, to be honest. I don't think this line's going to be long enough, but we shall find out subsequently. So I might shorten the line, the pole line, and not fish the reeds per se. See what we've got. Right, so we're on the bottom there then.
So Try it further out where we're going by the pads and see
Yeah,
what the depth is.
I honestly think that we need more line for that. But it doesn't stop us from still fishing, but we just
Well, the
won't
fact
be
that
entirely on the bottom.
the fact that the float was lying flat on the water could have been just a fraction.
We're pretty much on the bottom. Oh, I'd say we've just hit bottom there, so we'll get away with it, I think.
Yeah, I mean that float's just...
Yeah, I think we'll just about get away with it.
Could do with a fraction more, couldn't it?
Yeah, but
fraction higher on the float.
Too short. I don't want it too short for control of the float. You know, so yeah, that's doable. It's quite awkward, this pole. It's quite heavy at that kind of distance, but it is a cheap, basic pole setup. But you can fish like that. You know, we could do something with that. It's a bit awkward because it's a high bank behind, and it's not the most elegant way to fish this swim, but we chose it because it looks enticing, and we'll make do with what we've got. As long as you can protect the pole. This is only a £20 pole, price-wise. You know, it's just something that gives people an idea about pole fishing. Pole fishing, you can be very portable with it in a little pool like this, which works, but you can spend a lot of money getting the gear together to go pole, thousands of pounds for match gear.
So let's bait up and
we'll get fishing.
Bait up and Andy goes pole fishing.
That's it. Yeah, we're good to go. So I'd say that we're pretty much on it there. Notice that these rubbers aren't particularly good, these silicones, but we've got a bit slides off the hook too quickly, off the floating. A bit slack, that's really loose, but still. Anyway, we're on the go.
Right.
Yep, we're good.
And what we're putting on for bait to start with?
Maggots, I believe.
Right, so I'll tell you what, I'll sit down, I'll bait up, and you can film.
You can bait up.
Right.
Yep.
There you go.
Right, there you go. So, hook's in there.
Right. With the camera, do watch at the little flashing red. You've got the same
make
camera,
sure that's working, yeah.
That's the go, because with it, at the level of lack of action, the camera decides to go sleepy.
Right, okay. So if
we're going to put maggot in, are we?
Yeah, I think a handful of maggots down somewhere by the lilies. I think is probably as good an idea as any. Oh. Yeah, we're all in the sock, so that's good. Yeah. Yeah, we've got some movement going on there.
Right.
Yep.
So we've thrown the maggots to there?
Yep, to, you know, roughly where the yellow flower is on the, you know, that's where I'd be headed to go.
On the hook.
Yeah, put 2 or 3 on.
Red mags has always been the favoured bait fishing here when I'm fishing with a rod and line. Question is,
You're going to fish short then?
Well, as far as I can throw them.
Oh, well let me have a go then.
Should have bought a maggot bolt.
That's where you want to be. There you go. Right, now you're in business.
We're playing cricket for England.
Yeah, now you're in business, right.
So we take the pole and we hang the line on.
Yep, and then gently put everything together.
This one back.
Yep. Making sure that your pole is on the end of your roller because you don't want it digging into the bank, they are fragile. That's it, ship it forward nice and gently at your leisure.
Just on the roller.
Yep, take control of the rear.
Float.
Yeah, be aware of where the back of your pole is. Yeah, because you don't want it digging into the ground. That's it.
Ship that in. Yeah.
Yep, and now ship it out to your spot. Both hands. Yep, that's it. Ship it out both hands, and when you get somewhere near your spot, just tilt to the left. Yep. And then just pick it up to put it into your spot. Yep. You need to sit sideways really on your chair to handle it better if you can. If you can sort of sit sideways, then you have it across your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right, you've got to keep your tip out of the water and support it. Yeah, one hand forward, one hand back. Yeah. You could, you know, right. Now you should be fishing. Right, so you need both hands on your pole. I know it's heavier because it's not an expensive pole, so it'd be a lot heavier than most.
Okay.
To run, but you want to keep your tip out of the water if possible. It's easier said than done. If I bring that up a tiny bit, it might help you support the pole, because
that more upright.
you sit dip. Can't put it.
That's
more,
better.
Because there you go. That should make it a bit easier for you. Right now.
That's better.
Right. So now you've got to make sure your float stays in the water, and just lift in. When you get a bite, you don't have to strike. Just lift. That's on the money, so that's good. And now it's just a case of now a good tactic sometimes, if you think that there may be fish there but they aren't biting, is you can just raise your float and put it back down again. So you can just lift your rod, lift the pole, that's it, and then just put it back down in the water again. So the bait will just sort of come up off the bottom if there's anything there, and then just resettle it back down. It sometimes will induce
line between the end of the pole and the float.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean most people have, you know, a foot or so. You know, it depends. You know, you've got control over your float. You know, but you know, like I say, you should have both hands on your pole at all times. So that you just, when you get a bite, you just lift. It's quite a heavy old beast, that pole, isn't it? But
it's Ron Thompson.
Yeah.
I think you retail for about 50 quid, if that.
Yeah, but for practice and just, you know, learning how to do the job.
Yeah, I mean,
it's perfectly fine.
These poles are Ron Thompson poles. They're literally probably not even 50 quid for an 11-metre pole. It's about 50, 60 quid.
You wouldn't want to be fishing it with the last few sections on, though, to be honest, because it's unwieldy as it is.
It's 2 more sections to go.
Yeah, I know there is. It's
2 more sections to go. You need hydraulic lift or something on your front rollers.
Yeah, it is unwieldy. You know, it does the job. But if you were a nipper, you'd only be wanting 5 sections. Yeah. You know, and I mean, I might at some point shorten the line a little bit and start feeding the shorter line. Yeah. You know, because if you do get tired, because it is tiring for us on a heavy pole, you know, especially, might just sort of feed a short line down that corner there.
And then bring the micro pellet.
Yeah, you just missed a bite. No, I know, but you know, we've got maggots. You know, that'll if there's something here.
Some ground bait in my bag as well, if you want.
Yeah. Mix up some later. Did you bring a bucket? Look, see, you've got. Did you bring a ground bait bucket?
No, I just mix it in the box, in the maggot box it's in.
Don't forget, you can pick your float up and put it back down again. You know, just lift gently. That's it. Just both hands. No, yeah. So, no, all you do is just bring it up and just let it go back down again, nice and smoothly as possible. I know it's hard with an unwieldy pole, you know, and a heavy one, but.
I've got a front stand. I've got a tripod stand that we'll bring next time.
Yeah, I mean, another roller would have made this a lot easier.
If I've got a tripod stand that you could put a roller on.
Yeah, that would.
Which will sit.
Yeah.
Or a hammer to put the bank stick in with.
Yeah, it'll definitely make it easier.
Or that bank stick I was joking about.
Yeah.
Now that storm pole with the screw-in base,
Yes.
It's 3 foot, starts off at 3 foot. The telescopic starts off at 3 foot.
Yeah.
The telescopes out to about 6 foot.
Well, that would be ideal, you see, because the pole sock could have been further out into the water, which is ideally what I wanted to do with that bank stick, was to have the pole sock into the water a bit.
I was thinking the front roller could have gone.
Well, potentially it could have, but would it be? Would that have gone high enough?
The problem with it is it's not totally stable. With that long bank stick, that could have. Oh, that bank stick's about 5 foot when it's extended. That other one.
Yeah, but you've got a lot of movement that you can adjust with. So you know, ideally, I'd have liked it a foot in front. You know, just in front of the rim of the swim.
That's what I'm thinking. They've got a couple of storm poles.
Yeah.
Well, they're actually not listed as storm poles. The strange thing is that's still running.
Well, the red light's blinking.
Pure Fishing actually don't sell storm poles because they've now started including storm poles with their bivvies.
Oh, right.
But what they sell is tall screw-pointed bank sticks.
Oh.
Which you might well think when you look at them are storm poles. But one wonders if a tall screw-pointed bank stick is perhaps more expensive than a storm pole.
Well, yeah.
That's it. Press and hold as it come back on.
Yeah, it's come back on. Yeah.
It runs for so long and then self shuts off. It's a pain in the neck.
Oh. You can't go into the settings and change that? No, it's probably designed as a battery
fail-safe. It runs for
safe.
about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Runs for 10 or 12 minutes and shuts down. I suppose it's battery saving so you can't accidentally leave it on and flatten the battery.
Fair enough.
But it's a pain in the butt if you're actually trying to record.
Yeah, of course.
If you're trying to record something that's you know, going on for some time, you know, they just self shuts down at a critical moment.
That's always the case.
Or you don't realise it's shut down.
But then, you know, I was talking to Hugh Miles quite a few years ago because he did the snow leopard wildlife videos, etc., etc. And he was saying when they made Passion for Angling, you splice. You couldn't splice.
Oh God, yeah.
So if there's a fish on, you and the camera happens to be off, you turn the camera on, you video it, and then you set the scene for the capture and put that in front of.
Yeah, but the thing is, with that camera, you press the button and it doesn't come on straight away, so you press the button again and it comes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. By which time the fish has run riot, so you've lost the fish while you're fiddling with the camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, all the really quiet bits like this where nothing's happening, you can edit out. Is the problem.
Yeah. It's just you've just got to make sure that your battery's robust enough.
Yeah. But what usually again happens with the camera, the battery dies just as exciting stuff happens. The battery dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pick him up and let him go back down again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's often entices. So.
Right.
So we don't think we've got anything to mix ground bait into then, no?
I just use a tub that I've.
Oh, you have got a tub with you?
No.
Yeah. Well, if you've got a bait tub, then
you see the other bait tub? Just use that. That's all I ever use.
No, that'll be fine. I didn't know whether you'd got anything to mix.
And then wipe it out when I finished.
Yeah. No,
that's why everything in my bait tub's in separate bags.
Yeah, I got you.
Everything in my bait tub there's in separate bags. And all I do is take the bags out, mix the ground bait or whatever in that bag,
Yeah.
and then just wash it and wipe it out when I've finished. And put all the bags back. That ground bait there doesn't take a lot of water. Huh?
Is it just crumb?
No, it's that mixture of crumb and goodness knows what.
Alright.
But it doesn't need an awful lot of water, I find.
Okay.
I've always been a believer in ground bait should be just enough to hold when you pick it up.
Oh yeah, well, it depends what kind of scene you want to set. If you want cloud, then obviously, you know, you don't make it too...
Oh yeah, but I mean, I've seen people with a ground bait like trying to make dumplings to go in the vegetable soup. You know, they just hit the water and sink as a lump.
Well, yeah, but in fast water, you want it on the bottom. You don't want it breaking up in the current. So
It'd be wood to break up eventually.
yeah, but if you're fishing somewhere shallow, you want a cloud in the water. You know, as it drops down through the water column. So you know, there's loads of different conditions that you'll make ground bait for.
Yeah.
You know, in different ways. I've always found, you know, I mean, if you're fishing say somewhere like a fast moving water like the Trent, you don't want your balls breaking up on the top, excuse my French, and it might sound a bit funny saying that, but yeah, you know, you've got to get them on the bottom, because that's where the bream are going to be, you know, so, and that's what makes up match weights, is catching bream. But you've got to have your bait down there to keep them interested, because a big shoal of bream will clean a load of bait up in a short space of time, and then they'll just clear off.
There's definitely ripples coming out as if it's fish moving.
Oh yeah, I mean, by the time we get a bit of ground bait down there, by the time this is marinated quite nicely and we get a bit of this down there, you know.
There's definitely fish moving there, because you can see the actual, you know, circles on the water where they're tapping the surface.
Well, the other thing is to watch the lily leaves and see where they're bumping into or picking eggs and carcasses off of the lilies, you know, off the stems. Yeah. They'll often be bumping in.
Give that a rest for a minute, just you end up killing